It's John Radigan Rads with Abs, Abby Jones, and there's J-Dub over there. It's the last week of or last show of the week. So the tradition is Hat Day.
Well, we're going to be cooking up some Rangers news here. So
we are. We're going to be cooking up a way for the Rangers to get Sasaki is what we're doing.
Yeah. I tell you, he's posted, and we've gone over several times the whole process, and it's not going to be the unmitigated, no rails free agency. He goes into the international pool. So really, any team could sign him. Mm-hmm. Every team in baseball has enough money to sign him, but with somebody of his magnitude, there's always a little, back under the table talk about, hey, in a year or two we'll give you this, and so that's going to happen, and so that will shrink the number of teams. Of course, he's not going to come here to play for the Pirates or the A's. He wants to win and be a star. So that shrinks it pretty good, and I think the Rangers would be in that pool. I really do.
Yeah, they've worked hard on him.
So, they have, yeah.
Let's talk about how posting him even kind of made sense, because it almost was like it made more sense for them to keep him over there. Like the benefit for their team kind of outweighed him being posted. Why do you think they finally decided to post him?
Well, I think there's probably there's talk that he had it in his contract, and I don't know that he was gonna want to sign with them anyway, because he was on a 1-year deal, and so it's like, all right, we can hold this money and build up this grudge and this bad reputation with future Japanese players that want to come to the United States, or just let him go. Do the good thing, the honorable thing, because it's he's not the first, and just kind of do what's good. It's good for the game in Japan. It really is. I mean, you're going to lose one of your best players, but you're also turning him into a star in the United States. So, from a business perspective, no, it's a terrible decision. I mean, pure dollars and cents, but overall, it probably makes a lot of sense for them just to stay in the good graces and have the opportunity to sign and keep players like that going forward.
He shared, "I'm very grateful to the team for officially allowing me to be posted."
Yeah, and he had a quote that has since been removed from the story, it looks like, but he had a quote that said his time in Japan was not good. and success-wise, yes. Oh. And it looks like I'm going to have to put these glasses on, folks. Sorry about this, but I read that for sure this morning. I almost typed it up for the Prophet. I forgot to mention the Prophet, by the way. He's over here twisting and tweaking and doing a great job for us. So I almost typed it up, but the Prophet was so busy yesterday, I didn't want to put too much on his plate, but that quote is no longer in the story. But he said this morning, I read it with my own eyes, that my time in Japan did not go well. And that clearly has nothing to do with how he played there, because he was the best pitcher by far in the Japanese league. Yeah. So, he didn't elaborate on what didn't go well. Yeah. But apparently, he's another one of those guys that he wanted to play in the major leagues, right? And so he, to Jeff's point, made a provision to do that. And good for him, and good for all of Major League Baseball, that now there is a chance to get this guy. And to your point, as a quick background on what that is, right? If they'd kept him for 2 more years, he wouldn't have fallen into the international rookie bonus pool. He would have been completely available when the Rangers got our boy Yu Darvish. He got a huge bonus, right?
Yeah.
The posting fee was the posting fee. Yeah, he didn't get it. The posting fee was 55 million.
It was 52.11. For 11 for his number. In Japan, or maybe it's 51. Wait, it was a big number. But the system's changed since then. Now it's just a percentage of the contract,
and even that can be big,
right? Because Yamamoto last year, who signed at 26, his team Oryx held on to him. They got $50.6 million after the 12-year, $325 million contract. So the Dodgers are paying him $325, and they had to pay the $50, so it's a $375 deal. The Rangers signed Darvish his contract was 6 years and $60 million, I think it was. But
Okay.
when you added the $52 million,
Then
that's a
Yeah.
that was a pretty sizable chunk of money, although it didn't go to him, all of it. But yeah, now, so that's why it does make sense for the Marines, because they're going to get 20% or 25% of maybe 10 million.
Yeah. Yeah.
That ain't a lot of money.
No.
And so it's not good for them. But again, and these teams don't operate on huge budgets. It's not like they have $200 million payrolls over there.
Right.
There's only a handful of clubs relative to our 12 teams, I think. And
like
they
the opportunities kind of small.
Right.
You
Well,
don't
like the biggest contract
the
I think
moment.
this year was, I think the highest paid guy was like $4 or $5 million. I mean, they just don't pay well. So $2 million isn't a drop in the bucket for a team, but 50, that's
It's nothing like 50.
50
Yeah. And all
some
they had to
serious
do,
bills.
he's 23. And all they had to do was wait till we have to be over 25, right?
Yeah.
You have to get
Yeah.
to 26. So anyway, it's big news. It's big news because the Rangers have worked so very hard on their influence and their presence in Japan, and they've done a great job with that. And we wonder what you think. So don't forget to chat along with us on a rare Saturday edition of the DLLS Rangers podcast. But it's nice to see you, Natalie, and we'll see the others coming in as well.
I know.
But
I was going to say BC, our Dodger guy. He would love this segment.
yeah, well, he would. And we're going to basically try to talk him out of, and Sasaki, frankly, out of it just being automatic that he goes with the Dodgers. Look, that's the conventional wisdom.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that, because, they have Shohei Ohtani, because they have Yamamoto, he is automatically going to just go and sign with the Dodgers. And we aren't necessarily ready to just buy into that, in large part because, among other people, and among other things he did, Ross Fenstermaker has been part of this whole international recruiting process as he came
A
up
heavy
through
hand.
the ranks to become the general manager of the Rangers.
Yeah, the Rangers have an established presence over there. I mean, it was, before Yu Darvish, it was building and building. Then they get Yu Darvish. I mean, the money dictated a lot of that. But they've had multiple Japanese players over the years. They had an agreement with Hokkaido, which MLB has since banned teams from having those arrangements. But there was a working arrangement there. They signed Colby Lewis when Colby Lewis is in Japan. They went and got him. Tony Barnett, a reliever. You guys might remember him.
Yeah.
So they have scouts. Joe Furukawa is the head guy. He was Darvish's initial interpreter. Haji Watabe is over there. Great guy. They work hard. But then, Josh Boyd, who's assistant general manager forever, going to the John Daniels era, early in the John Daniels era. He goes to Japan a ton. So does Ross, more not as much, but he was over kind of international scouting. And then the general manager goes when he has to go, and Chris Young went in September. And
see why I did that late in the season. Yeah.
So I mean, there's a presence, and how these negotiations go. He's going to want to create leverage, obviously. Mm-hmm. So he's not just going to single out one team and negotiate with them. He's going to. It'll probably be like Ohtani, where Ohtani. I think there were 7 teams that he met with. The Rangers were one of them, obviously. Mariners are in there, and ultimately the Angels is where he signed. And that was a surprise. I think a lot of people, including the Rangers, thought Ohtani was going to sign with the Rangers. Yeah. And he didn't. So I think you get into the room, you never know what happens. And Wasserman is going to represent Sasaki. They're pretty, they've done it for a while. Wasserman is also who Jordan Montgomery hired. Not that Jordan Montgomery is negotiating a contract this year, but maybe next year.
Yeah.
And anytime you get an agent in the room or are talking to him, you don't just talk about one guy.
That's talk about all your guys.
That's kind of always the little hidden thing. It's like, I remember JD saying, we were at a Do It for Dirt dinner actually, and he got a text. I was like, where are you texting? He goes, oh, it's Joel Wolf, an agent. I was like, oh, okay. And he represented player, I don't recall, but he also represented all these Japanese players. So anyway, whenever that's going on, like if they talk to Scott Boras, how many players does Scott Boras have?
Oh my gosh, everybody.
So they're talking about all of them. So anyway, just get in the room, get Chris Young in that room, get the guys who Sasaki has met. The Rangers, they met with him in high school. You know, they went to his house and met with him. Get them in the room and see what happens. You never know.
And so Shohei Ohtani was the fee was like 2.
It was $20 million.
It was
20 million posting fee then. Yeah.
Okay.
So after Darvish, it then went to 20, and then after Ohtani, it went to the current system. So really, the Japanese teams have been getting screwed over basically.
Sure. And what did Ohtani sign for? Not a lot of money.
It was 2 something.
Yeah,
you know,
2.1 or 2.3.
The Rangers had the most money.
Right now they do.
They had the most international money then. They had saved all their bullets,
and they made trades to get more
exactly,
money.
Which you can do. You can acquire up to 75% of your budget. So in the Rangers case, they have like $6.6 million this year. So I don't know what 75% of that is, but
I don't know why you're looking at me.
It's
nobody does math on this.
It's not $4 million. $4 million would be 67%. So anyway, they have a chance to get it to 10. You know, but they do have international agreements too, and they want to be able to.
Yeah.
There are guys that they want to sign internationally. So there might be a situation when they're like, all right, Rōki, we will give you this amount of money. But that's not all of our budget because we need to sign these guys who are really going to help you down the road. And then we'll make up the difference here tenfold in a couple years.
Yes.
Just to make it
there
look
has
good.
to be that wink, wink, nod, nod.
Yeah. Absolutely 100% has to be.
Yeah.
Because really, I mean, you know, if they didn't do a deal, he could be pre-arb and they'd pay him $800,000 for 3 years.
Yeah.
And then five, 12 and 20 or whatever it would end up being. But they won't do that. They'll get him locked up. And I mean, at 23, he just turned 23 like last week.
Okay.
So he's a young 23. He's got a chance. I mean, 12-year deal seems perfectly reasonable.
Oh my gosh!
But okay, so when he's 25, let's say 10-year deal at that time, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's be maybe a little delusional or hopeful for a second. If the Rangers did have Sasaki,
right?
It's a fastball that reaches triple digits pretty often. Complements with a frontline split finger fastball and a slider. What would be the starting rotation with this guy in it?
Yeah, I mean, you figure obviously a healthy Jacob deGrom is still going to be your ace, and then they call
the
Sasaki the Japanese version of Jacob deGrom.
Yeah.
So you have deGrom followed by the Japanese version of Jacob deGrom, Sasaki.
deGrom Part 2.
If they sign Nathan Eovaldi, which we know they really intend to do, that's your third starter now?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Maybe
and to clarify, this Sasaki money does not come from the pool of money where the Rangers are attempting to sign Eovaldi from. So they still have the money to sign Eovaldi, sign a bevy of relievers, Jock Peterson, let's say. It's entirely different pool of money. So that's what's so damn enticing about this.
Yeah, you have your cake and eat it too.
You have a chance to get him for nothing out of a budget that most people don't even understand where the money goes, and you're not going to see these players in a lot of cases unless they're Juan Soto or Acuna for 5 years.
It's like girl math. Like if you pay in cash, it's free because like everything's on a card. So if you have like I get my nails done in cash only because then it's free.
It's free.
But that's what this is. If this is a set aside pool that has nothing to do with your real budget, then this guy's free.
Okay.
You know?
Okay, so with a daughter and a wife, I've never heard about this girl math.
They use
you need
it.
to dial
Holy
into it.
crap! I'm gonna have to start looking at the budget. My goodness!
If it's half off, then you're
no wonder
paid.
there's never
you're
any...
getting paid to buy it.
Thanks for joining the DLLS Rangers podcast. Be sure to like us, subscribe to us, and upgrade your subscription. Become a diehard today.
We all silly like the mayor.